And we're live. Hello, Mary. Hello, Mercedes. How are you guys today?
I'm happy to be here talking about this wonderful Psych-K principle.
Yes, we're here today to talk about cause and effect. I just want to make sure that the technology is with us. So I'm checking here on my phone that we are live. So give me 1 second.
Okay.
Yes, we are. There we are. Oh, so much fun. Okay, so we are all beautiful Psych-K instructors, and we have joined today because we have this wonderful joy and happiness to share about what Psych-K means to us in the context of the principles of nature. And we've been doing this all year, and this month, September, right? It's September, is it? Yeah.
Yes,
It's actually 9/11, right?
9/11. Today is 9/11.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
17
beautiful day to
years.
talk about cause and effect. There we go.
Yeah.
So yes, we've been creating information around the principles of nature, which are our center, our key reason to be in Psych-K these days. And I invited Mary and Mercedes, and I think Karen Mackay is going to be joining us soon, so that we can talk about what is cause and effect in our lives now, and how is that different from what it used to be. Because if I may say for myself, in my context of culture, there were a lot of sayings, if you do this, then you're going to be punished. If you live, everything was going to be bad afterwards because there was no way of getting it right. So the cause was always bad and the effect was always worse. So I don't know how that has been for you guys in your life pre-Psych-K, which is basically what we would like to talk, how it was and where has it gone with the Psych-K world. So how about you, Mary? What would you say this cause and effect idea before Psych-K?
Sure. So Psych-K came into my life 8 years ago, and I would have to say my perspective about cause and effect before Psych-K was I was very a perfectionist and super hard on myself, very critical, and almost the philosophies of it's never good enough. You can always do better and always keep achieving and always keep pushing and doing more. And I think for me, I was exhausting myself and everybody else around me by having that push and that drive. And I believe because I did embody the responsibility piece of the cause part, as far as taking responsibility for myself. Where I fell short was in judging myself. So I think it was a lot of judgment or criticalness, so that when things happen, to take it very personal. So, and I also numbed myself. So my way of coping was to be in denial of my feelings and to fake it. To put the happy face on and to say everything is great, even though things were pretty much a lot of turmoil inside. So for me, the principle of nature with cause and effect was to give myself permission to go within and to become honest with myself of how I truly feel and how I truly want things to be different, and to feel safe enough to be vulnerable enough to start shedding the masks of how I was presenting myself to the world and to become my true essence.
Wow. It's so beautiful, this word responsibility, right? It's such a different way to see this now. And because we were taught to be such the victims about everything. Right? And we were the victims of beliefs for so many years, and of cultural beliefs, of family beliefs that were not really real. They were just stories that we were told. How has this been for you, Mercedes?
Well, you know that English is not my main language, so I wrote down some ideas.
Not mine either.
So if you want, you can stop me, because thinking about this principle was very, very deep and profound for me. So thank you for giving me this opportunity. So similar to Mary, this principle led me be aware that things that not just happen, that we are responsible, as Mary said, which is not guilty, but able to respond to create something different. So we can create a different cause for a different effect. This is something that before Psych-K I didn't know. Mm-hmm. So I love this reminder in nature that we can change things. We can revise the cause level of our effect level as individuals, and also as a group. I can revise my causes as a cell of this big body, which is humanity, to understand why there is a war in the other part of this wonderful body. And also reminds me that there's no sense to change life in the effect level, but coming back where things are created in these roots, in this wonderful matrix, which is the mind. So when I'm confused or lost in some experience, I remember that there's nothing outside to push, but coming back to my thoughts, my emotions, and beliefs, where all my life is created, in agreement, of course, with my spirit. So sometimes it's just remember that doing a Psych-K balance is much more effective than trying to undo things that are outside. And nobody stands up in the cinema trying to delete the projection, that has no sense. And sometimes we are lost there. So this is more or less things that I'm aware after Psych-K in my life.
Nice. So you guys, these are like big words that we're talking. And big words that to us make a lot of sense. And I've been thinking a lot about cause and effect, and I've been writing about it this last week, because in my Facebook page as well, this is a huge theme. And I started thinking, so what can I cause different daily to create new effects? And it's little things, because sometimes we think, oh yeah, well, we have to have this big responsibility for the big beliefs that we have in life and the deep, deep things. But it's actually in the everyday life that we can do that. Like, for example, last week I was in Monterrey teaching in Mexico. And I have a very clear cause in my breakfast. Breakfast has to do in a certain way. So it has to be eggs and bread and coffee and fruit. And I used to be very stressed, because if that was not like that, the effect the rest of the day was disaster. I would feel uncomfortable, I would feel out of place, and I never realized how these little comfort zones are causes that actually have huge effects in our day-to-day, because then we have to sustain a lot of energy of why that created stress in my life. So I got to thinking, where did I learn that? How did I become so fixed in a certain cause in my day that would create such a big stress in my day-to-day? And I've invited myself through Psych-K balances to try new things, to create new causes. And this was actually some years ago that I discovered this. And last week in Monterrey, I decided, okay, there's a huge buffet. It's so beautiful. And I'm just going to go for the same thing that I do every day at home. So I went and tried salmon, and I had some prosciutto, and I had melon, and I had, what are the frosted flakes with banana and milk. And it was such a treat to create a new cause and to see the effect in the rest of the day. So do you have any examples like that in your lives, that are these little things that we think, but that's not really important. Who cares if I change this little thing? How big would the change be in your day-to-day life?
Beautiful. Well, I'll start first.
Okay.
With the cause and effect principles in nature, the third one really hits me. When it says everything I do has an effect on myself, others, and the world around me. And I think for most of my life, I focused on everything I do has an effect on others in the world, but I didn't really pay attention to it having an effect on myself, letting me come first, if that makes sense. So the big shift that I've been doing recently is shifting from doing into being, which is really typically not my nature. I'm a total doer. I love action. I love doing. I love organizing, putting things together. I love doing. And I've been really, So for this cause, for me to have a new effect in my own personal life, of just, for me, I see it as becoming just more of a loving true essence, is to just be and to be comfortable with that. So for me, it's just the cause of setting intention to do less and to be good with that and kind of collaborate. I love the collaboration piece of moving into more is not always better. But for me, it's actually just letting my mind be quiet, not even have any thoughts or feeling, noticing how I'm feeling. If I am just being present with my family, just enjoying laughing or just listening. And I'm usually a talker, so now I'm shifting it to just listening. So it's these simple new ways of being that I'm inviting myself into to see how it affects myself and then how it affects others around me. The effect around others has been massive because I've been just more looking in people's eyes and just smiling but not saying anything, like when I'm at work or going places. And it's way more profound than even the talking. So for me, the cause is you can shift actually who you really are more than you ever can imagine by setting those intentions, and then also doing Psych-K balances, because whenever I feel uncomfortable about it, then that's a great invitation for me to transform that perception, to shift so that I can feel comfortable, to give myself that permission to that it's okay to just be. I don't have to always be accomplishing something. If that makes sense. And for me, it's actually opening my heart and helping me connect more deeply with Source, with Divine, and just loving. I woke up this morning just giggling, just like feeling this joy of this massive, of just being. And so that's, for me, it's just where my focus is for cause and effect is. So even when I think of cause and effect, I think of a doing. What I do is going to affect everything. But I'm shifting it now. It's how about the being is going to affect even more, as I feel. So I feel who I am is where my focus is becoming, and what that effect is for myself and for others. So, and I want to be the light and the love that I truly am, and I believe everybody else is too, and to invite that for others also, so we can just enjoy each other more instead of trying to keep doing things.
Beautiful, beautiful. This idea of cause just by being instead of doing, because I think we've been trained so much in this doing, so much in this idea of I have to do, and then we never have any space within to just be. And so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Mary. How about you, Mercedes? How's this for you?
Well, for me, let me share some profound change I'm doing these weeks. I'm a very action and agenda orientated girl too. And I used to have the perception that if I move some chips in the board, I can win the game of getting all stuff done. And this principle of cause and effect these last weeks with the hands of Psych-K showed me that it is not the movement itself, which is also important, but the intention behind the movement. And I've been trained to stop doing the agenda and just be there doing nothing. And the result is completely different because actions start to just come connected with that clarity, which appear when I'm in a calm way. And sometimes I am afraid. I start to see that I was afraid of my true intentions. That sometimes you don't want things to be seen. You decorate your true purpose, like nobody will know. But what really creates is the energy behind that movement. And this is something that I'm really realizing right now in my life, even though I have that theory. So I'm seeing that I'm responsible for my acts, but also for my thoughts and beliefs. I mean, if I go to the gym and I just want to lose some weight, and I'm there in the walking machine telling myself the ugly I am, this weight I have, the fat I am, I don't think that with that cause environment, my cells want to collaborate too much. So it's not the toxic environment of causes and effects in our couple or family work, but in our mind. So I'm revising the healthy cause environment for healthy effects. This is something I'm trying this week.
And it's beautiful because I think we've all had lives before Psych-K, and we probably were aware of these things intellectually, and we've read about these changes that we can do and how we can set just the intention, or all these talk about positive mind that we went through, and the affirmations of, well, just will it, and it's going to happen. But we willed it, and we tried the positive mind, and we tried the affirmations, and we tried the busy mind of I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, and the optimism. Because I've had a pretty optimistic view of life all my life. However, it was still a struggle to make these changes. It was a huge struggle to just try and not do, because there was such a fear. If I don't do, I'm not productive. If I don't do, which is the cause, then the effect is nothing's going to happen. If I am not there, the effect is everybody else doesn't work because people are just mediocre and I have to take care of it. If I don't talk, then nobody else does. If I don't go out and take care of things, then nobody in my family is going to do it. So all these things that we put on top of ourselves, and actually it was just this huge thing that if I'm not enough, then if I'm not enough, I'm the cause. Whatever is outside is not enough either. And it was a lot of effort to do that. It was a lot of energy. And I used to be so tired. I would come home after work, and then we call it work, so it's work. and we're so exhausted at the end of the day. There's no time for really enjoying life. So how about we tell people, because for sure we're going to have some Psych-K people in this live, and we're going to have a lot of people who have never done Psych-K or don't even know about what Psych-K is. So how about we tell them what's different? How do you perceive the difference, Mary? What does a Psych-K balance do for you when we introduce this into our lives and make it so much fun and easy? How does that work?
It's allowed me to open up that anything is possible. That you feel like there's nothing holding you back anymore. Where I felt that this is just what I was born into. This is just how life is. You're right. You're, like you said, you're supposed to work hard and provide for your family and have some fun and show your love, and then you hope your heart's open enough that you cross over and have a good life afterwards. So oh my gosh. So it wasn't. You weren't really in control of your own life. What Psych-K has given me is control of me and let me take my power back. And I love it. And I can give that permission to other people in a very simple, powerful way. Because I know anything that I thought about, I can set that intention to actually create it in my life. And I do believe that. And with Psych-K, it's helped me to believe that because I can feel it. And it's helped me to learn how to feel, which I blocked that. So I didn't even know what I felt or even give permission to that. So now I actually know how to feel things and to be good with switching. If I don't like how I feel, then I can very quickly shift it. And I was one that lived in frustration. Like these two lines are like my frustration lines. I have like two lines in here. Always in a hurry, just going. And I'm frustrated because I can't do it fast enough and I can't get things accomplished. And what Psych-K has done, actually the lines are relaxing. Like how amazing is that? That oh my goodness, it's it's connecting with every aspect of this universe, meaning whether your faith and your divinity, however that is for anybody, and each other. So for me, Psych-K has reconnected me so deeply with everybody here. And it's taught me to unconditionally love and accept each person right where they are. Because when I'll see people getting frustrated, just like I used to get, and I would just chuckle because like, I remember I used to be like that too, And it's okay. They just don't have a tool yet to learn how to to shift it. So So for me, it's just loving people right where they are. They are where they are, and I can offer if the moment comes where they ask, what I'm doing and what's helping me, then I can share it. So this is for everybody who's ready for the changes within them, and I welcome everybody who is ready for that to say yes to themselves, because I'm sure glad I did.
Beautiful. I think you just said something that's the key in the Psych-K world, and even though we're not sharing how we do this because it's easier done than said, this idea of getting our power back, getting our lives back, and lives with all caps, to really have a life, just not go through it in a rush, in a hurry all the time, in a worry state all the time, because I used to be so addicted to being worried. I had to be worried. It was the way that I learned that to show love. If you're not worried, then you're not loving the people around you, or you're not caring about your life, or your worry lines are. I have them here a little bit higher, and like you said, they are disappearing, and they were so heavy that physically my left eye has always been smaller than the other one, and we don't realize those things, and are so evident in our physical bodies as well, that we just think, oh, that's normal, that's age, or that's how it's been, or that's how my family is. There's no normal. There's a new normal, which is what we want to invite people with Psych-K, and in this loving way that you say, accept everybody. If they're going to be there, wonderful. If this is their path, wonderful. If not, we can support them with love anyhow. But the first support is for ourselves, and that creates that shift that you're talking about, which is beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, thank you.
So Meche, how's that in the south of Latin America, all the way down in Argentina? How does the cause and effect change with Psych-K?
Okay. Well, you know that we've been talking about intentions and purpose, and we know that subconscious mind has its own intention and purposes. So these intentions and purpose sometimes is not in my conscious aspect of the mind. I really think I am loving myself maybe, and others, choosing some action, but at the subconscious level of the mind, I have no permission to create the life I want, to enjoy some experiences. So in this case, Psych-K has a very special place in my life, helping me to connect, as Mary was saying, with this architect. I love to call this way architect, this superpower catapult or shuttle of intentions. So the subconscious causes are 1 million times faster than our conscious causes, So I was very used to my conscious causes, and now I know this, it's just making a Psych-K balance and to connect my subconscious belief causes with my spirit. So, and this is for me the connection with personal power, which was a concept that before Psych-K I had not really experienced what it was about, which is connecting my effects and the experience I create to the source of my unlimited, super fast causes and creation possibilities. So for me, Psych-K has given me the power to revise the causes I was creating in my effects.
Amazing. And I think it's a beautiful, different way from our view of Psych-K, this cause and effect. Because more than, we need to go to the root to discover what happened and how that happened and why I'm living this. And actually the proposal is completely separate from that. We don't need to know the root. We need to see the effects outside to know that there's a cause inside. But I don't need to know the original cause. I need to see what's happening out there and just decide, okay, so if what's happening out there is that I eat breakfast the same way every day, and it stresses me if that breakfast is not like that, then what do I want instead of that stress? Like you said, I just need to change the perception that I'm just going to be as happy eating whatever I am blessed to have on the table. And it just changes completely how we see this. And I was reading something really beautiful, very simple, that these beautiful things that we get on WhatsApp or on Facebook, that sometimes they say, oh, well, why people share so many things? Well, because now we have this ability, this network, to share amazing things. And these amazing things make you think different. There's a cause. Something was shared. How am I going to see this? And somebody was saying, well, how can I be grateful if I am so sick? How can I be grateful if I don't have any money? How can I be grateful if my parents died? And for each of those things, there is a blessing. How can I be grateful if my parents died? Well, you had parents. You had the magnificent gift that you're alive because you had parents at some point, even if you didn't ever meet them. How can I be grateful if I'm sick? Well, because you're grateful that you are alive. You're sick, but you're alive. How can I be grateful if I don't have any money? Well, do you have a bed to sleep on, or do you have feet to walk with? So each thing we can just change it around, and how am I going to shift it? Or the day-to-day things. Oh, I'm so tired about the traffic. Well, you have a car. You're into traffic because you have a car. Oh, yeah, but it's a beat-up car. It's a car, and you have money to put gas on it. Oh, but I only have a bike. Yes, you do. You don't have to go walking. So there's always a way to shift this. The cause and the effect is the final effect is, how am I going to live my life? I can keep being the victim, or I can see, so how can I shift this? How can I shift this? And to me, Psych-K is that gift of looking at each situation, the cause, and the effect is how I'm going to live it. And it's so beautiful, because I had no way of seeing that in my life 9 years ago. I was so worried, I was so clouded with stuff to do, to run around, that there was no time to just be, like you said, there was no time to breathe and notice that you're breathing. Because breathing is such an automatic thing, an automatic cause. And the effect is that it keeps us alive.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Marta.
Yes, thank you for letting us.
Yeah. When I hear you say that, so the effect, the effect out is the gift with Psych-K is that whatever you are noticing that might be triggering a feeling that you don't like inside you, which most people hopefully will begin to feel what they don't like, is asking that precious question, is what do I want instead? And actually have a way to actually create that through changing the causes that you can now do within yourself. And I think that's the beautiful gift, is that this offers. So thank you. And you shared it beautifully. Both of you. Yay! I know.
Well, guys, thank you for this, taking time out of your lives, your beautiful, beautiful lives, and your kids and your families to share this. The intention of this is just opening up to this world who keeps saying, but why don't we know more about Psych-K? So here we are telling you what Psych-K can create in your lives. And the way to know how to do that is to visit our websites, either the Psych-K.com website, which I'm going to write down here in a little bit, or Mercedes' website in Argentina, or Mary's website, or we are all listed on the Psych-K website, the official website. Our workshops are there. These have to be done in person. It's an amazing, amazing experience to be there in person. This has become the world of, oh, but I want it online. Oh, well, yeah, but, there's some things here that we can't do online. We don't want them, because Psych-K is about human connection as well. And as beautiful as it is to have you in Detroit and have you, Mercedes, in Argentina, I'm so happy I'm going to go see you guys in a little bit. Be in Argentina next week, or to be in Detroit in a couple of months. And that's also a gift. Something that, this is a life I could never have imagined. So this means if you're waiting for Psych-K to come to your hometown, well, maybe it's time to create a new cause. Get on a plane, get in a car, find where you can go, have some fun, make a trip out of it, and discover the amazing, amazing things that you can't imagine now, because there's so many things that are limiting us that we cannot see beyond those filters. And there's so much more. And that has been the greatest gift Psych-K has brought to my life. So thank you guys for being there, for being who you are, for doing all you do. And maybe we'll see you again next month. We'll see. Next month is interconnection. So we'll see what comes in.
Beautiful. Yay! Beautiful. Thank you, Marta, for having us. And so beautiful to see you, Mercedes.
The same. Thank you very, very much.
We're a lot closer than we realized. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I'll send you also this is going to be on our Facebook page, and I'll send you guys a link to YouTube as well.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.